Well, guys, what three things are certain in life? We all know two: death, taxes. And the third one is obviously Tom Brady beating the Bills. Never, ever pick the Bills to beat the Patriots as long as Tom Brady's the quarterback. I gave you a bunch of reasons why we should have been optimistic last week coming into this Patriots game, and I still picked the Patriots just because they have Tom Brady. They have consistency at two things: coach and quarterback. They've had it for 14 or 15 years. Coach and quarterback. You see what can happen when a team with marginal at best talent, like the Patriots, can do with a great quarterback against a team who we perceive to have really good talent in the Bills, but an average quarterback. He wins. He wins games. He knows the formula. He's 23-2 against the Bills in his career. 23-2. That 92% win percentage is the best any quarterback has against any team, with a certain minimum amount of games played, and it might be 10 or so. I'm honestly not sure of that. But it's insane how the Patriots have just dominated the matchup outside of the 31-0 game 11 years ago, and is it a fluke? And we happened to get them one time in 2011. This past Sunday, Bills lose 37-22. That's about what it felt. It was closer at times, but it didn't really feel like it in the second half, at least. The game was the tale of two halves, really, and neither of those halves went in the way of the Bills, because in the first half, the Bills, as Kyle Orton said in his post-game presser, that they couldn't get out of their own way. They turned the ball over 3 times, and they were only down 13-7. That's a win. You're down 13-7 at half to the Patriots and Tom Brady, and you are losing the turnover battle 3-0. They were actually in an okay spot there, just because they weren't getting killed. The field goal at the end of the half was absolutely pathetic. I just want to put that out there. I don't know how coaches get paid actual lots of money. I know that is a grammatic disaster. I don't know how coaches get paid so much money to come up with what happened when I was screaming, I'm working, just at the stadium, screaming at the top of my lungs because I know they're about to run a 5-yard out and make the field goal closer. And nobody is pushed up against the line. And it's just mind-boggling and mind-numbing, really, just how you can't see that coming. There's 6 seconds. There's enough time to run a play. I was so mad at that point. But they were only down 6 at the half, come out in the second half, and the defense couldn't stop them. The Bills put up a couple more points, but the defense simply could not stop New England. They scored on all 4 of their possessions. They scored 24 points. Defensively, not having Aaron Williams certainly hurt. He could have been the answer because we had no answer for Gronkowski. McKelvin is hot and cold. Some weeks he's lights out. Most weeks he's not. Played terrible. Duke Williams played very, very poorly. Took a horrible penalty. The whole team took some bad penalties. And the Bills I believe they're the 3rd highest penalized team in the league right now, which is unacceptable to me. I'm not going to sit here and blame officials because I hate that. I know I have a couple times in these videos. There's some bad calls in there, don't get me wrong. The call on Duke Williams for pass interference on Gronkowski was straight laughable. Just a horrible, horrible call that handed New England 3 points. Were the Bills going to stop him anyway? That's an argument you can have if you'd like. The pick play Watkins got called for, kind of a joke. Happens all the time. Is it technically pass interference on the offense? Yes. They called it. Whatever. Woods, whatever. It's a push-off. I mean, who gets called for offensive pass interference 2 times in the same drive? The officiating was not great, but the Bills didn't lose because of officiating. They lost because like I said, they had no answer for Gronkowski. They had no answer for Tom Brady. They completely shut down the run game. They made the Patriots one-dimensional. They said, "Hey, beat us, through the air." And that's probably not the best way to do it because through the air they have Tom Brady, and Tom Brady made them pay. On defense, the lone bright spots were Jerry Hughes, who hopefully the Bills can manage to re-sign because he's probably going to get paid pretty well, but he fits our scheme so well. He had 7 tackles, a sack, credited with 2 hits on Brady. Nigel Bradham played, came back from injury, had 11 tackles to lead the team. He was a bright spot. The pressure was there a little bit. I believe they had 2 sacks on Brady, but all in all, they didn't get to him when they needed to. When the offense answered late to make it 30-22, it's a 1-score game with about 6 minutes left. Patriots go 93 yards in 7 plays. Just Brady stands back there. They converted at one point. They converted a 3rd and 16, I believe, or 3rd and 15 to Gronkowski. Brady just stands back there. Obviously, somebody's going to get open. I don't even blame the secondary on plays like that. I blame McKelvin for the LaFell play, the touchdown, that capped off that drive. But on the 3rd and 15, and I'm not sure at which point in the game this was. I know it was in the second half. Brady just stand back there. Of course Gronkowski's going to get open eventually. Somebody's going to get open eventually. You can't cover everyone forever. They're going to break off their routes, and Brady's going to find him because nobody's touching him. That was frustrating, just because they shut down the run and still got beat through the air. Speaking of the run game, the Bills got shut down on the run as well. 23 carries, 68 yards running the ball. 3 yards per carry. Not even. That's got to be a massive point of emphasis this week. Guys, it just has to get better. And I know the offensive line has been bad. I saw Pro Football Focus ranked the 75 guards. I could be wrong on this. I had it written down and I can't find it now. I believe it was the 75 guards throughout the NFL, and Cyril Richardson was 72nd, and Eric Pierce was dead last, 75th. That's Pro Football Focus. That's a pretty accredited statistical, website. As far as tackles went, I believe there's about 72, and Seantrell Henderson was 70th or 71st. Just something has to happen. Why can't Craig Urban get a snap? We do all this defensive rotations on the D-line. Mario and Jerry Hughes are coming out of the game for Jarius Wynn and Manny Lawson in big points in the game. So, what's with that? But, sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, we have this rotation on defense, and at corner, at safety with Corey Graham, Denora Searcy, McKelvin, Gilmore, and who's it? Duke Williams, who I talked about already. They have all this rotation. Rivers, Brown, who plays most of the snaps, Spikes, who comes in and out. I mean, they have all these defensive rotations. Even at receiver, Hogan in and out, Woods in and out, Mike Williams not playing. And the only thing I'm going to say about that is, why hasn't he fired his agent? If what you're saying is true, you want to be a Bill, why wouldn't you fire that guy for going behind your back and asking for a trade? That's all I have to say. Back to the rotational thing. Why can't Craig Urban get a snap at guard? You have rotation at absolutely everything. Every position, at tight end, wide receiver, but not on the offensive line. I know you want consistency. You want continuity at that position. I get that. But it's not working. You have to try something. You have to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks at this point. That's tough. And I know the protection wasn't there, but, Orton took some bad sacks. The Skinner one up the middle. I don't even know who that guy is. He comes in for Gerard Mayo and comes just right up the middle. Orton stands there like a statue and just takes it. I mean, the Patriots were weak at the second level. The Bills had to exploit that. I don't know why it took them to the fourth quarter to do that. I was impressed by some of Orton's throws. He was doing a great job throwing to specific spots on the field. Threw into some tight windows. That was kind of impressive. But, that's where Manuel was lacking. Is throwing to spots, eyeballing one guy, waiting for him to come open rather than anticipating that he will be open, those kind of things. In the passing game, I liked the games of Robert Woods. I liked the games of Chris Hogan, and obviously Scott Chandler coming up with some big throws and catches from Orton to Chandler. That was encouraging, and that's something they have to do. Your 6'7" tight end needs to make a difference in the passing game. I wish they would have found Watkins a little bit more. They seem to kind of avoid him, acting as Darrelle Revis is some sort of god amongst men. And I hate that. Why not try it? Screens, anything, to get that guy the ball. It's your best player, or at least one of your best players, so get it there. The bottom line is the Bills are 3-3. They have 2 winnable games coming up before the bye. So they could conceivably be 5-3 at the bye, and I think most of us would have taken that coming into the season. 5-3, yeah, why not? You know, they have to. It's important that they win their divisional games. They have to sweep the Jets. They need to sweep the Dolphins. Those are absolute musts. Because they're only 1-3 in the AFC right now, and that's not good for tiebreaker purposes. Are they playing for a wild card? Probably, because let's face it, is New England really going to look back? They're in first. They got a game lead. Are they going to look back? I don't really know, guys. I don't think so. But I know that the Bills need a game to get back on track, and this seems like the week to do it because you got the Vikings coming in this week. The Vikings are a mess without Peterson. They haven't thrown a touchdown pass in 4 games. They only have 3 touchdown passes on the year, 9 interceptions. And the Bills are sort of vulnerable against the pass, I guess. You know, they don't run the ball that well. They have Jerick McKinnon and Matt Asiata in place of Peterson, who is just, is he suspended technically? He's on the commissioner's exempt list or whatever. They're average rushing team, 13th in rushing, 30th in passing, so that's 3rd from the bottom. The Bills are number 1 against the run, so if the Bills can stop the run and force them, this is what they got to do. This is the plan. It's the same plan as last week, except you don't have Tom Brady throwing against you. You have Teddy Bridgewater, who, you know, is completing 62% of his passes, but still no touchdowns. He's only got a 70 quarterback rating. They've taken 22 sacks as a team. That's Castle, Bridgewater, Ponder, who started one of the games. I expect the front 4 of the Bills to win the game almost single-handedly for them. They're going to make Teddy Bridgewater's life a nightmare, hopefully force some turnovers, get some sacks. I expect the Bills to win by 2 scores. You know, Bridgewater has the ability to escape the pocket, but their offensive line has been so poor. And offensively, I think that I know that the Vikings are 6th against the pass. They're below average against the run, so that's something that has to get going. It really has to get going. Defense usually wins out in type of battles like that, but now is the time to get the run game going with Jackson and Spiller and Brown, or maybe Brown will play, or Dixon. I think they just have to. We know that's what we want to do as a team. You got to make it work. And it starts up front with that offensive line, which we already talked about. Chad Greenway might be back for the Vikings. They have some good corners. Like I said, they're 6th against the pass. Captain Motherland, Xavier Rose, Harrison Smith, they're good players. But it's still something the Bills can exploit. I just think it's important that they start fast. They need to get out in front of them. Never leave this game in doubt. Foot on the gas pedal, win the game. That said, do I think that's going to happen? No. I'm still going to pick the Bills to win by 2 scores. I'm going to say 27-13, the Bills are going to beat the Vikings. There it is. There's my prediction. I just think that somehow it'll stay close. Maybe the Bills will be up 20-6. Minnesota scores a touchdown. We're like, oh, no, this can't be happening. And I think the Bills are actually going to close the game out because this is what you should do against a team like this. You should close this game out. There's no excuse to lose this game. If the Bills lose this game, the proverbial blank will hit the fan. New owner coming in. Marone's going to look bad. Doesn't have a lot of the answers. They have to win this game. And they need to beat the Jets moving forward to next week too, but we'll talk about that next week. Guys, I want to hear your opinions on last week, on this week, on the future, Kyle Orton, Terry Pagula, anything like that, the running game. Hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter name is the same as this, my username for YouTube, so you can find me on there. Like I said, all I really talk about is Bills football on there, a couple other things, but mostly just Bills football. And I want to hear your opinions because I like talking to you guys. And, you know, just don't be one of them bridge jumpers. If you're jumping off the bandwagon, don't come back on it if they win this game on Sunday is what I'm saying. Anyway, guys, enjoy your weekend. And as always, go Bills.